Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. I hope you can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear before we start. Fantastic. I can see loud and clear. Awesome. Awesome. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm glad to have this very first live stream in 2019, and I hope to get this all started on a very good note. And also, I hope you had a fantastic holiday and you had some time to rest. I've been certainly working on quite a few things in regards to tutorials, ideas on how to push Mac University forward. Right. So before we get started, I'd just like to say welcome to you all on this live stream. We have Wayne, Marco. In fact, when I'm looking here on the side, there's another screen here, which I'm looking at. So I hope you don't mind me looking on the side here. We also have Sam, Steve, Monique. Good to see you. Agante, Tanya, Glenn, Wayne, Tim, Sam. Awesome. Saeed. Great to see you all, and this is fantastic. We are also here on YouTube. There's also Paul, Sadar, Michael. Awesome, good to see you all. Right, so what we're going to do today is I'm just going to do a few announcements, and then we are going to do some website reviews. I've already listed the websites that I'll be reviewing in the description notes below. So you can take a look at those reviews. And also, if you haven't bought Divi yet, if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, I will give you access to my course absolutely free. So it's the Divi Blueprint course and also the Photoshop course. And also, I'd like to say to everyone joining us, there's a lot coming up for 2019 for Mac University. I might as well start by talking about those things. So first of all, I've been working on a comprehensive tutorial which shows you how to design a website from scratch, step by step. So I'd like to take this opportunity and show you this website. So I'm just going to switch over here to my screen. Okay, so this is the website. I'll be showing you step by step how I created this. Over here, we have this section here where we have a video and some text. And we also have this page displaying the latest posts as well. Okay, so that's the first page. And we also have the About page here. Okay, so this is how I created the About page. So I'll also be showing you step by step how I created this About page. And it also has some follow me on the bottom there for social media. And then over here on the services page, I'll show you how I created this top section. We also have latest projects on there. Now let's move on to the blog page. Now over here, this is how I created the blog page. So as you add more posts, this area here will be populated by more blog posts. And then finally, we have the contact page. So I will also be showing you how I added this background and also how I created this customized contact form and the address. Okay, so that's coming out. I'm sure by Monday, this tutorial will be out. So I'll be posting it and also sharing all these pages for those of you that want to use this layout. So I will be showing all that. Right. So, okay. Right. So the next thing I want to talk about is the new courses that are coming up. So the new courses are the new WordPress Gutenberg course. That's almost done. In fact, I was hoping to post it today, but there's a few touch-ups I need to do and also upload everything onto the website. I also put together a new course called How to Make a Membership Website. Again, this is a 2019 course which features the latest Gutenberg and also the latest Divi software. So that's that's been a long time in the making. So I'm glad that this is almost complete. So for those of you who are monthly members, you will have access to all these courses absolutely free. But if you're not a member, of course, I think the course will be going for $297. So just to let you know, they're ahead of time. We've also been having problems with the payment gateway. So some of you were charged twice. I've made some refunds. But for those of you that have that problem, please just drop me an email and I'll be able to fix that for you. Okay. Right. So let me just go back over here and okay. Right. So as I mentioned, the payment gateway, I'm actually migrating that to which doesn't have all these problems. The issue was I set it up wrong, and that is why things were not working okay. But this is something I'll be sharing as well in the future on how to create a membership website where I show you how to integrate the payment gateway. All right, so so far so good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump in straight through and let's talk about the website reviews. And throughout this, the website reviews, you can comment, you can also ask me questions, and this is how we're going to, continue with this. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to switch over here to my computer. Okay. Right. So for those of you that want to send your website for review, you can send it to macuniversity.com/reviews. And you can also see, in fact, let me go to the link over here. If you come over here, you'll see all the list of websites being reviewed. So I will be crossing these out as I am, as I do all the reviews. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to start off with the first website. And this website here was submitted by CFO and believersinchrist.co.za. Right. So this is the first website we're going to look at. So when I first take a look at this, it looks very, very busy here. The message is not, everything is, is way too big. And also, if we take a look here, the message is not very clear what this website is about. And also, the logo here can be improved. I think this logo can be improved by maybe making it much simpler, because I can see there's some crosses there in the logo, but it's very difficult to see because the image is quite small. And over here, these main images here on the hero area, they are pixelated. They're not high quality images. So I will change these and simplify this hero area here. Now, let me just show you quickly the website that I created so I can show you how you would want to sort of like work on your website, because making it simple here is very, very important. So right now, as I mentioned, it's very complicated. And instead of having this this main image here and having a slider, I would actually have one main image which has a specific call to action or value proposition. So that way it's quite clear what this website is about. So when I scroll down here, I like the way things start getting simple here, because as you can see, it's now quite easy. In fact, with these three blurbs, you can see it's quite easy to go into whatever it is we need to pick here. So things start getting simpler here because there isn't much going on, and this is great. Now, when you move down here as well, this section is okay. And this is even much better. The leadership, we can see here the leaders of the church. The pictures are nice. There's a consistent background color there on all these images, which is great. Now, when we scroll down here, the media center as well, it's okay, but I wouldn't use this color here because it's becoming too overbearing. So I would use maybe even a slight gray color on this area here. But that's all. But that works. That works too as it is. Now, when I scroll down here, with the online shop, again, these images don't look very professional. They're very pixelated. We can't really see what it is we are looking at here. So this needs to be changed. Definitely take better pictures of these products, of these books, and add them to the shopping cart. That's what's going to make your website look very, very professional. Now, remember, when people come to websites, the first impression matters. So if the site doesn't look really professional and you're selling products, people are unlikely going to buy from that website because of how it presents itself. Now, again, if you take a look at, let's say, a storefront, if the storefront is too busy, it doesn't look well organized, chances are people will just walk past that shop. So use that same theory when you design your website. So your main landing page, that's your storefront. So make sure that looks really, really neat and it looks very professional. Now, moving over here, this image here that you have here on the left, again, it needs to be a high quality image. Now, over here, when I look at these, at the fonts, again, I would go in and change the fonts because the fonts you're using there, although it works, don't use these fonts that come by default with Divi because that's just the giveaway. Play around. There's hundreds and hundreds of fonts out there that you can use on, most of them are free on Google Fonts. So try and customize your website and give it a different look altogether, even including the fonts. Right, so moving over here, the social media feeds. In fact, I really like this because this is fun. You have your tweets and you also have your Facebook. The Instagram here, again, make sure that over here on the Instagram, this is updated because you don't want to be adding things that are not working here. And then finally here on the contact page, I think this looks fine. But as I look at colors here, now I may be wrong on this, but I don't think there's a consistent color palette being used throughout this website. But I may be wrong, as I mentioned. So this is something that you may want to look into again and make sure you have a color palette that you're really following. And also utilize the, what's it called? The Divi color palettes. The color, what's it called again? I've just gone blank. Okay. Divi has this color management tool, which gives you colors to work with. So you give it the basic colors and then it generates all these colors that you can use. So you might need to use that as well. In fact, I will do a tutorial on how to use the color management in Divi. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a quick look and see if we have any questions. Right. So I'm just going to switch over here to right. I'm just going to take a look at the questions. Right. Tariff Tech here has added a bunch of thumbs down. I'm not sure what's going on there. Tariff Tech, I mean, in fact, you know what? We want to keep this stream good. Right. So we have quite a few of you that have joined us again. We have Daryl. Good to see you, Daryl. Sachin, Ratapula, Adam. Good to see you. Right. So what I'm going to do now is if you have any questions, add your questions in the comments box so I can respond to your questions right now as I do these reviews. And over here as well, this old cargo says, very excited about the new courses. Fantastic. Yes, I really put some time into to craft these courses because it's been a while since we updated the Divi Blueprint course, and a lot of changes have been added onto Divi. So I thought, putting together a complete Divi course will be a very good opportunity for those of you that want to use Divi, because a lot of things have been added to Divi. And also the course on WordPress Gutenberg, I think that's also quite interesting, because there's a lot now that WordPress can do out of the box. So I do share all those things in the course. All right. So someone says, just submitted one of your websites. Great. Awesome. So for those of you that want to have your websites reviewed, please add your websites. The link is in the description. It's just macuniversity.com/reviews. Okay. So now let's switch over here and let's continue with our review. Right. I've just checked here. Ratapula saying my stream is 720p. Yes. For some reason, it's not full HD. I'm not sure why that is. This is strange. Right. And also, I'm using Ecamm Live. I did get a suggestion about which live streaming software to use. So I'm using Ecamm Live. It seems to have very good options to stream, but I'm still playing around with it. So maybe it could be a tweak that I need to do in Ecamm Live. All right. So hopefully this is, it's clear enough for you to see as I'm doing these reviews. Okay. So back over here on the website. Just going to switch my camera. Right. Okay. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into one of these products and see what the products page looks like. Right. So I'm just going to scroll down here. In fact, I saw the products. Oh, here they are. Right. So I'm going to go into the shopping cart here and view one of these products. And one thing that I also noticed about this website is it's quite slow. So you may want to add this website to a much faster hosting company. Right. So over here. Okay. So these images here look slightly better, but as I mentioned, you do need to add these images right from the beginning. All right. So let's take a look at some of these other pages here and let's see what they look like. So right now I'm looking on the About page, and again, it is taking quite a while to load up. Right. So same thing over here. These images that are being used are not high quality images. So you do need to use a DSLR camera, take some nice pictures to add onto your website. So right now, in fact, what I'm saying here, I'm not saying this to sort of like bring your design down, but I'm trying to advise and give you tips on how to make this website better. But right now, just by looking at this website, it doesn't really look professional because of the result of how the images are being used. They are not high quality images. And also there's a lot going on these pages. So I would improve mainly on the images. That should make a big change. Okay, so over here, I think these sections here look okay. So this establishment section is fine. You can actually read the information there. And also this section here is fine. The doctrine is okay. So this page overall is fine, except just the main image here. So I'm just going to take a look here at the leadership and see what we have on the leadership pages. Again, as you can see, it's really loading slow. And again, this image here needs to be changed. Okay. Now this gap here that we have, this can be fixed by using gutter width. So if you come in here and reduce the gutter width to about 2, that should reduce this gap here. Otherwise, this doesn't look really nice. So that needs to be changed or adjusted. Okay. So over here on the ministries, let me take a look at the youth ministry and see what this looks like. And again, you can see as I'm clicking here on these links, they're taking quite a while to open up. Which is strange. Yeah, so definitely this website needs a better hosting company. Okay, so over here again, I would add a very nice image here on the top. And because we have a light background, this text here is not easy to read on this light background. So you do need to use your contrast in a much better way to make it easier for your readers to read your messages. And again, here we have the same problem with the images. With the gap over here in the middle. And over here as well, the width of this row is way too big. I would use about 70% as a rule of thumb because that makes it much better. Okay, so you can see here these rows. It's way too wide. So I would reduce that to about 70% or even down to 60%. In fact, let me just show you quickly how I've set my site so you can see how I've used my rows. Right, so if you take a look here, if I go on the About, you can see here that the row is a decent size. You can still read this information right here in the middle, which isn't too bad. And over here on the services, and again, you can see everything is within the 70%. So everything here is much closer together. And it's not two-way wide coming over here close to the edges, because you will notice that problem when you view your websites on a big monitor. And again, even when you come here on, in fact, let me go to the home page. So same thing over here on the home page. This information here, the gap over here, I managed to fix this using gutter width. So this is what you may need to do to fix that problem. Okay, so back over here, I'm going to take a look at two more pages. So I'm just taking a look here at the online shop. Right. So again, the image that's been used here, it's what can I say? It's too pixelated. It's not high quality. So I would improve that. And also the color that we have here doesn't really work well. So I would change that color as well. And the products, I think I mentioned that these products needs to be changed and improved. Right. So finally, I'm going to take a look at the contact page. So the contact page here is not too bad. We have the contact form, which is good. And we also have a map, which I think is also handy. But what you notice here is you have two contact forms. So just make sure that you get rid of this one here because you don't need that. But otherwise, this is fine. And on the top here, I would actually add an image of maybe the church itself to make it look better. So pretty much that's all I have to say for this website. I would actually go in and make those changes. Make sure you use high quality images, and also for your rows, use about 70% as the row size, because if you use 100% or 80%, the row gets way too wide and it gets too close to the edges. So that doesn't really look nice when you take a look at it on large monitors. It may look nice on a small laptop, but when you go on a large monitor, it won't look nice. And those gaps between the rows, they need to be, between the columns, they need to be adjusted using gutter width. So that's what's going to make it even better. And also the fonts used throughout this website, you're just using the basic ones. I would go in and play around with the free Google fonts that we have. And Divi makes it very, very easy for us to choose all these fonts from the font library. Okay, and also the colors. I would also take a look at the colors and use colors that are a bit subtle and use the dark colors on specific areas like the header area and maybe the footer. But throughout the whole website, just use subtle colors. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because of the nature of the website. This is a church website, so it needs to look very clean and very, very professional. So those are the main things that I'd like to, that I would say should be improved. Now, for those of you that have any comments about this, please add them in the comments box so I can read them out. We have a very good comment here from Marco, and Marco says, the optimal number of characters line should be between 60 and 70. Otherwise, it's too long for the eye to track. Absolutely right. So that is very, very key. In fact, this is a graphic design principle. If your paragraph is way too long, it's very difficult for people to read. I mean, from corner to corner. So it needs to be 60 to 70 words. So that makes it much, much easier. So thank you very much, Marco, for that. That's a very, 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 very good tip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go over here to YouTube and see if we have any comments. Right. Nanyamka says, what do you think of the anticipation plugin? I'm not aware of that plugin, to be honest. Maybe I will take a look at it later and see what it does. Adam says, do you recommend any good cache management plugins for WordPress? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I did a video on WP Rocket. I think that plugin is fantastic. It's very, very easy to set up, and it's. I mean, as soon as you install it, it has dramatic effects. So it makes your website really, really, really fast. But if you have, let's say, hosting like from a company like WP Engine, for example, they have inbuilt caching. But for all these other hosting websites that are slightly cheaper, this is the plugin to go with. So it's WP Rocket, and I've also made a dedicated video about it. Right. Salman Khan says, what is the best option to compress the high resolution images to load quickly without losing the quality? Right. So the best way to do this is to actually use your, I use Photoshop. So in Photoshop, when you edit your image, you can actually export it. And during that export stage, you can actually play around with the quality of that image. So I normally do that in Photoshop, but there's image compression tools or plugins that you can actually use. But I would say the best thing is to compress your images from your image manipulation program like Photoshop. So I mainly use Photoshop, and this is also included in the course on Mac University. So I show you step by step how to compress your images, because this makes your website really, really, really slow. In fact, when I used to design websites in my design agency, the one thing that I used to see that was the problem was when you add all your images to your website and you open the site for the first time, the images will sort of like, come up in stages, as you saw like with this website we've just reviewed. Okay. MD Sharia says, I like your tutorials. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Al-Haji, Creative Nomad says the pros are lots of content. Although busy, it looks like a nice established website. Yes, I agree absolutely. The website looks very established, but it can be cleaned up and made look a bit better because it's slightly too busy, and I think more can be done with the colors, as I highlighted. Oh, Rito just joined us. Good to see you, Rito. Right. Vera also says, I've watched your Photoshop course. Although I'm a Photoshop user, I've learned new things, super useful. Thank you very much for that feedback. Awesome. Right. Okay, Wayne, thank you for reminding me. I will do a quick demo and show you how to edit for different views as you're building your pages. All right, so I think I've covered most of comments here. Let's move on now to our next website. So I'm just going to switch back over here to my desktop, and then we're going to take a look at our next website. Right. So our next website is from Mohammed, wellforworks.co.nz. Right. So I'm just going to switch back over here to my desktop. Strange. Right. Okay. Right. So the next website is by Mohammed. It's called Well for Work. And when I went to the website, unfortunately, this doesn't work. So you do need to submit a website that works. So we're going to skip over this one here and move on to the next one. So the next one here is by Doug. And in fact, Doug hasn't sent the website. So I think Doug might have forgotten there to add his website. So we're going to move right on to the fourth one, which was submitted by Gula, I think. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one here. So I'm just going to close this. And wow. First impressions is this website looks really, really, really nice. It's clean. I like the colors. And also the use of images here is also really, really nice. This is a beautiful website. Okay, so that's just my first impression. When I just take a look at this site, it looks really, really nice. Okay, so let's cover and talk about the nice things and maybe the little things that can be fixed on this website. So first of all, on the top left here, when I take a look here, I see this logo. Now, this logo is really nice. You can see the font is beautiful, well put together. The image here, it has a cool, subtle animation when I mouse over here, so which is good as well. And the font, now this is what I mentioned. This is what I was mentioning earlier on. If you use custom fonts, it makes your website look really nice. And also, if you use the font that works with the type of website you're putting together, it makes it even better. So as you can see here, the use of this font here is beautiful, very clean. Right, so let's navigate to different parts of this website. So I'm going to come over here to the blog page. Oh, in fact, this is the actual page. So I'm going to go to About. Beautiful. So even here on the About page, I like the way this top area here, the title area, and also the text. You can see here the row as well as the right size. You can read this content here very, very clearly, nice and easy. And also the line height on this text helps the reader read this information, clearly. Okay, so the colors are also consistent. I can see here that a color palette was used, which is great. And then finally, we have the contact page, which again looks really nice. I like the style here that we have on the header areas of these pages. They look really nice. And also the touch here where you have the description of that actual page. I think that's beautiful. And then over here, we can also see that the use of colors is also at play. The contact me here and also this info box also has the actual colors. Now, what I would like to see on this website is perhaps maybe more pages. So I guess maybe the website is still under construction or quite a bit of work is being done to this website. But, having more pages will just make this website really come together, because right now we only have 3 and but this is off to a great start. I really, really like this. The only thing that I would like to say here is this color that we have here, the gradient color, I would actually change that to black. So try and change that color to black, because we're having too much of this color now on the side. So if we change this into black, this will be much, much, much better. So that's what I would do on the homepage. But other than that, this website is well put together. It looks very, very clean, very, very professional, and I love it. So guys, in the comments, what do you think about this website that I've just reviewed? This old cowgirl says, a lovely site, but the colors on fonts on the menu are really hard to read. Yes, perhaps that could be changed slightly. In fact, what I could do here is to maybe make them even bold, and maybe make them bold, and perhaps maybe even change the color just a little bit to make them to make those links stand out. But yes, fair comment. Yes, there's also a comment here from Vero saying the font could be a little bigger and bolder on the menu. Great. Tanya here says, would it be an option to show some of your suggestions using the inspector? Yes, I could do that, but the problem with that is these reviews may end up taking longer than expected. But what I will do is, whenever possible, I would just go in and show you that. But that's a very good suggestion. I could also do that and just show you those changes so that you can see them in real time. In fact, I may also that's fine. You're right. Okay, now let's take a look here on Facebook and let's see if we have any comments here on Facebook. Okay, so here we have comments saying, love the side menu. Oh, I have a comment here from Ratapula saying, the website is on the imagefactory.ca, so we might need to go back to that one and perhaps do a review of it. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so the website is there. Right. Yeah, so overall, I would say the site looks really nice, but just those minor tweaks. But other than that, I think this website is well put together. Right. Okay. Vero says the Facebook icon is way too small. I would agree with that. In fact, now that you've mentioned it, when I looked at the site, that's when I noticed it. So I agree. Maybe the social media icons need to be made bigger so that people can easily find them. And also the color, I would actually not use the pink and maybe use a different color, maybe a light gray, just to make these links stand out. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Right, so our next. Okay. So our next website here is Image Factory. Right, so first things first, what I would do here on this page, I mean, I really like it. The images here that are used are really nice. So what I would do here is I would actually move this value proposition here over here to the left, okay? Because that will then shift the focus to this actual, item here on the screen. And because we have a dark area here, this text will be much, much easier to read on the left. And just to show you quickly, if you take a look here, I've actually done something similar by putting this value proposition over here to the left. So that is actually one way you could do this, because over here now, the text on this lighter background is not easier to read. And also I would align it left as well when I add it over here to the left. But other than that, that's what I would do. Now over here on the top, the logo, I guess it's fine where it is, but maybe have this navigation below the actual logo, because that seems a bit natural when you go to websites to have the navigation here just below this main image here. And even with this dark background, that would work very nice over here. Okay. Now, the use here of section dividers, I think, is excessive. If you're going to use section dividers, just use one style, because the more you add all these styles here, it becomes very chaotic and very confusing. So it just adds a lot of complexity onto the website. So if you were going to go with this one here on the top, I would just continue with that throughout, all the section dividers. Now over here as well, I would add some line height, because as it stands, this text here, the line height is, it's quite difficult to read because things are bunched, together. So I would just free up some space by adding some line height. That would actually make this look better. And over here, what we do as well, I don't think this needs to be in this black background. It's too aggressive. So I will just leave it as it is, because we can distinguish this because of the different font that you're using here. On the bottom here, these icons. Now I can see that these are GIF icons, because on the edges here, it's really showing like the color in the background. So what I would do is I would go back and save these images, or these images in PNG format. Okay. PNG is way much better than GIF when it comes to cutting out your icons the way you're trying to do it here. So other than that, I think that looks okay. In fact, this image here, I could actually have this image blending into this background here and not have this section divider. Okay. Now, moving on, featured work here. Maybe I would have, again, I would remove this black and just have featured work as the word itself. And then these images here, I don't think there's a need to add a border and a shadow. I don't think it's bringing any design benefit to this section. So I will just try and use these images as they are, without the border and without the drop shadow. So moving on, again, the way you're using these borders, I think you can do without these borders and still achieve a really good contact form. So what I would do here is I would reverse things on this page, maybe have these areas where you can add your name and your email, make that this color, and then the rest of the contact form could be white. So that's one way you could style your contact form. So that's what I would do here. Okay. So let's move on to the next page, and I'm going to come over here to design. Okay. So again, over here, I would have this navigation just below. And now you can see you've actually changed how your titles work. Before they were having a black background, and now you're having this border on it. So I can see why you're using the border, but this is why I was saying maybe it's easier, or it's better if you had these page titles or section titles without the actual background. Okay. And also these borders here, I would get rid of the borders. Now, this looks really nice here, this section divider on the bottom here. I really like that, but this could be something that you would want to continue throughout the whole website. Right, let's take a look at more pages here and see if we have consistency. Okay, so I can see we have consistency here on the borders. And over here, I would actually remove these borders on these videos and give them some breathing space. Okay. And your font here, I can see your font has changed. On the main page, you had a much bigger font, but over here, your font has gone slightly smaller. It's very, very important to have consistency with your fonts, especially your body font, because you want people to be able to read the same sort of like size throughout the whole website. Right, let's move on to vehicles. Now, with these vehicle graphics, what I would do here, because the main focus now is to actually show your graphics. So what I would do on this page is to actually showcase a closer look at those graphics. So right now, it's not very clear what the graphics are on this site. So I would actually have close-ups or much closer images to really highlight, the service that you do, which is vehicle graphics. And if I take a look here at the videos, again, I would have, that's strange. I thought I saw a video icon. Right, so perhaps maybe this is not the icon that you need to use here, because I can see you used a video icon. So I was expecting to see a video to play here. So I would actually change that icon to maybe a normal image icon. So here, okay, that looks much better. But I think the quality of these images could be improved, and you can also make them much bigger. But I like the way that this website actually communicates exactly what it is. But the suggestions that I'm giving here are just to make it even better. Okay, it is okay the way it looks right now. Okay, that's great. So this gallery here, I could play around with the gallery, make it much, much better, use high resolution images so that people can actually see these graphics. Okay, so moving on, we have logos. So again, I would have these logos in a gallery, and these drop shadows, I don't think, they are necessary here. So I would just have a normal gallery, just like how you have it here on the bottom. In fact, I really, really, really like what you've done here, where you have these logos here. I think this is really nice. The only thing I would do is perhaps maybe have consistency here. I can see you have a background over here on some of these logos, but on these two, you don't. And on this one here, you don't. So just have some consistency when you display your work. Okay. And even better here, I think these are really, really nice logos, actually. Wow. These are really nice logos. Okay. So the way you've laid out the logos here, I would say go with this style. This style is much better than what you're having here on the top. So you can see here what you've done on the bottom. It's very simple. You have a very light border, and then you have all your logos. So this is what I would have as my main page, which showcases the logos. And one thing that I also notice here as I'm scrolling through your page, I don't know if you noticed this, but on the top here, as you scroll, you want to make sure that this is dark enough because people won't be able to see these links here on the top. So the final page I'm going to take a look at here is the contact page. And again, this contact page is really, really dark. It looks like it's not a part of this actual website. So just add some consistency throughout the site. This contact page, I'm sure you can all agree with me that, more could be done here to make it much better. In fact, this image here of this telephone, I know it looks really nice, but I would get rid of that and put the address there instead. And also really change this around. Not sure what happened there. What, have I lost the page? That's strange. Okay, so I think what happened is I clicked this area here. So this is meant to be a map. So I would go in and add that map back on to make the website look really, really professional. Right, so to summarize, my suggestions here on this website is I would just move this information here over here to the left on the dark area to make it much easier to read. Secondly, I would consistently use the same size fonts throughout my website because that is very important. You can see here, the size that you're using here and here is not the same on the inside pages, okay? So that's one thing that I would do. So go into your theme options. You're able to set your sizes once globally throughout your whole website. So that's where I would go and make those adjustments. Also add some line height to make it easier to make your content easier to read. And also what you may want to do is to update these icons. There's quite a lot of websites that have icons that you can go to and download the SVG options of those icons. Those icons work really, really well. That's what I've been using for quite a long time. So I would really move away from having them as images as you have here. But if you insist on using these ones, then save them out as PNGs, because PNG has a better output when it comes to your images. Okay. And also with your images here, they are good, but just use higher resolution images, because your work, because it's graphics, it needs to really reflect that graphic side of things. So I would use really high res images throughout this website. Other than that, I think this website is, it is professional. It does say what it does on the tin, which is good. And it's just a few minor tweaks that you may need to do to make it even much, much better. Okay, right. Any comments about the website that we've just reviewed? Right. So what I'm going to do is to take a look here at the comments. Okay. So any comments so far? Okay. Vera here says the text in the home would be better at the left, so it looks more proportional. Absolutely. And the titles in the sections could look much bigger. Yes, I agree 100%. Okay, so all is looking great so far. Okay, so let's move on to next website. So our next website is by Firoz. So let's go to that website and take a look. Okay, so this is the website that we're going to review next. So first of all, Fine Arts Sculpture Studio. I think this website is not complete. Just by looking at it, it needs a lot more work and it doesn't look like it's complete. So I'm not sure if this is the final product. Over here on the top left, I can see it's a beautiful image, but it's too small. And I think that needs to serve as a logo. So in this case, it doesn't really work as a logo. You need to use a much better logo here on the top left. Now over here, the colors that are being used, in fact, this is another example of an excessive use of section dividers. So here on the top, I don't think it's necessary to have this section divider here on the top. We have it here on the bottom, but again, this could work very well if there was an image right here. So right now it just looks very, very plain, very bland. I know it comes across as if, harsh, but for a fine arts sculpture studio, I would be expecting to see a lot of amazing sculptures, a lot of amazing, images, because it's art, it's fine art. So right now I don't see a reflection of that. So this is where I would add quite a lot of images here, beautiful images to reflect that. And also over here, Fine Arts Sculpture Studio, this doesn't look, it doesn't really read very well because the color here is getting lighter. In fact, you know what? It's even pointless for me to talk about how this text could stand out, because the main thing that we need here on this homepage is a beautiful image, which is followed then with the value proposition. Okay. Now over here, need an artist, get a free quote online. Now it's too early. Why would I want to get a free quote? So this is again a principle that I spoke about before on websites, where you have to give a reason why someone would want to come onto your website and give a free online quote. Now I can see here, Yes. Thanks, Sam, for pointing that out. The spelling here for artist is wrong. So that's something that needs to be also looked at. So, yeah, need an artist. I mean, why? That's the question. Now, let's say I've just landed on your website. Why would I need an artist? So you do need to craft your value proposition much, much better to make it easier for people to take that call to action. Okay. And also here, call. I mean, you have a lot of animations here and also the colors that are going on here. They don't really work. I mean, you have these borders, drop shadows. I would really get rid of all of this and really craft your value proposition here to make it much easier for people to take that call to action. Now, moving ahead here, what we do, again, there's no need to have this in this rectangle because you've actually got it here on the bottom. And I think this layout is okay, to be honest, because you have restoration, production, wood carving, and so on. But having this here, you can just have it here as a title, what we do, and that's about it. Having this rectangle, you may not really need that, to be honest. And then on the bottom here, this slider. Now, I would not actually have this slider here. My call to action here for restoration should take me to the actual page. And let's see what happens. And these links don't work at all. So there's a lot that needs to be done here on this website in terms of getting it to work. You have another slider here, which again has tiny images. I would have really nice big images here on these sliders with a description text, because right now it's not really working. You see all these designs, you know, beautiful, but the way it's presented is not working. Again, this is another use of rows that I mentioned in the previous videos. The width is way too wide here. Okay, the width needs to be much smaller, or much smaller in size for this to work really well. Now this is stretching all the way to close to the edges of the page. I would reduce that. Okay, and then over here we have testimonials or quotes. Again, I'll have this in a much better presentation because it looks like these rectangles are just put on, you know, just stuck onto the page. Okay, there's another contact form here. So I don't know why there's several contact forms on this home page. Okay, so I would actually go and fix that. So there's a lot of work. In fact, to be honest, to go through this site, I would summarize and say, first of all, what you want to do is to choose a really nice color palette. That's the first thing. So what I would do is I would really have a brilliant color palette. I've done some videos on how to choose a color palette for your website. So that's the first thing I would do. Secondly, I would have beautiful pictures taken to showcase all these artistic pieces of work on this website. So the website should be driven by high quality images, especially the fact that it's a fine art website. Okay, that's very, very important. One thing that you may also want to add there is some videos just to showcase maybe the galleries or some of the work that you need to show. And these videos again need to be high quality videos. They don't even have to have sound on them. Maybe just have a title so people can see what the piece of art is about. So that's what needs to be done here on this website. So once you fix those two things, high quality colors and also the images, start putting that website together and perhaps send it again and I can do a better review. But right now the website looks very unfinished and a lot of work needs to be done on it. Okay. I don't know if some of you agree with me. What do you think about this website that I'm reviewing right now? Outstanding Web Solutions says, I love your hard work in creating these videos. Thank you very much for that. I'm glad that you appreciate the work that I'm putting into these videos. Thank you. So what do you guys think about this website? What are your comments? This old cowgirl, also agrees with me that they will expect really high quality photos. And Wayne also says totally agree. Sam also says full agreement. So I think we're on the same page here, which is fantastic. Okay. Okay, so moving on. Let's move on to our next website. Let's see, what website is this now? So the website now we're going to take a look at, submitted by Jennifer. Okay, so I'm going to switch over here to the website. Oh, hang on. Before we go, I just have a message here from Vero saying, did you see the gallery section? Okay, let's head over to the gallery section here. Okay, so let me just switch over here so you can see. Okay, let's head over to the gallery section. Okay, so this top part here looks much better now. But again, this image here is a bit pixelated. Right, so let's take a look at this. Right, okay, so there's some images here in the gallery. But again, as I mentioned, I think these could be higher res. They're quite small. So I would have these as higher res images. Yes, definitely. I would have these as high res images. And also the layout, I would utilize most of this page and lay out all these images with their descriptions in a much better gallery. Okay, let's take a look here at Lindbergh. Okay, again, I would have these in a much better laid out gallery, because right now we have these two columns which are just going straight down like that without utilizing most of this area here on the side. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And this is our website, which was submitted by Jennifer. Right, so first things first. Again, I think we're having the same problem here. I mean, and I hope you can see where I'm coming from with this. Images, the use of images on the websites here is also another example where the image is very pixelated, and this could be done much better. The heads are cut off, and I think what has happened here, you can see the mouth is cut off here. So these images are cut off at the wrong place. You can see here on the top, it's also cut off, but I'm sure if I resize this, it would look better. Right. So I think what has happened here is Jennifer here designed the website on a small laptop and did not take a look at the larger screens to see if this would look better. So it's very, very important. You can see here as I'm stretching my screen that I'm losing all that detail. And also these images are not high quality images. So I would actually change these images and make them high quality images. And again, you can see here, these are really, really, really pixelated. Okay. Right. So again, I just want to show you quickly here how, and I know I keep going back to my own website here, but you can see when you take a look at this picture itself is just different. You know, it just looks cleaner because it's a high res image. Okay, so any image that you're going to use, whether it's food, whether it's people, if it's high res, it's going to look much, much better. Okay, so this is the first key thing that you need to be aware of when you design your websites. Again, here's another example: high res image, it always works. Okay, right. So over here, again, I think this row is way too wide. I would reduce that row. and perhaps bring things a bit closer and breathe and give them a bit more breathing space here. On the icons here, I think they look nice, and the colors here, I can see that we have a color palette here going on, which is great. Maybe just to make this a bit better, I would have maybe a border around these benefits. But other than that, it's nice. Now, these logos, what I would do here is to have a consistent size because they all look different sizes. So it doesn't look like there's consistency here on this logo. So I would try and reduce this and have a specific width or a specific height throughout these logos to make them look much better. Okay. Over here on the top, we don't really have a value proposition. We're not sure what this website is about. It looks like it's a business website. It's very hard to tell what this website is about. So over here, I can see it says join the Mid-Atlantic Society of Healthcare Materials Management. Now, why would I want to join? You see, so this is where, again, we go back to the value proposition and how you need to craft it. So you do need to really think about the value proposition. And the best way to create a value proposition is by answering the following questions. What is this website about? Well, okay, what is this website about? Why should you care? What's in it for you? Or what benefit does it have for you, the visitor? So perhaps maybe I can give an example by saying maybe a website could be, let's say it's a, I'm just thinking random here. Okay, let's say it's a web design agency, right? So what is the website? So you could say, we design websites for small businesses, right? So that's the first sort of like statement that tells people what the website is about. So we design websites for small businesses. Okay. Now, why should I care? Now, to answer that question, you can answer it by saying, all our websites that we design come with maybe a guarantee of leads. And yeah, maybe you could say our websites that we create come with a guarantee of leads, and we can refund you if you don't achieve those leads. Maybe that could be something that I could care about. But I'm just doing this at random here, but there's so many ways that you can craft your value proposition and make it much easier for the visitor to know what your website is about. You could also say, we design websites, custom websites, step by step with the client until the project is complete. So again, that's being specific about what your website is about, because sometimes other agencies may design the websites as freelancers, and they just basically, take on the work without, doing the one-to-one sessions. So these are the sort of things that you can highlight to let people know what your website is about. So that's what I would do here. I would really think of the value proposition here and try and craft that and make it much better. Okay. Now let's move on to the events page. Now this is much cleaner, but at the top here, even though we've used a color overlay, I can still see that the image here in the background is pixelated. But I like the idea of using this color and having your page titles this way. Now over here, this is really nice. I really like this. This is nice. It's clean. I can see the date. And if I click here on sign up, sign up doesn't work. Yep, it doesn't work. So you may need to take a look at these upcoming events and make sure that they work. Okay, they don't seem to work, but the layout is really nice. I really like that. Okay, let's go to the About Us, because I think I missed that. And again, I like the way you are adding your page titles here. The one thing that I would do is perhaps making sure that I use high quality images here. Okay. So this is fine. Okay. I think this About page is okay. It's well put together. I really like this current offices here, but some of these images are pixelated. I can see this one here, Christopher and Jean. those need to be updated. Okay. Let's take a look at the membership page. Okay, so there's no information here. Now, one quick tip, if you do have pages on your website that don't have information, I would remove them from the navigation because that just makes your website come across as unprofessional. So just make sure that you remove those pages that don't have any content on them. Okay, so over here, sponsorships. Okay, this is okay, but I would have this perhaps maybe in columns to separate this. But other than that, it's quite clear to read. Okay, so resources. I guess this is okay. But this page here, the resources page lacks images. I would try and have a layout, which perhaps maybe has an image here that supports these presentations here. Okay. And finally, on the contact page. Okay, the contact page looks okay. It's nice, it's clean. Right. Now, here's something I need to mention quickly. If you take a look at this image here on the contact, you can see that this image is much, much, much better than the image that we have on these other pages. Take a look at that. Take a look at that. So this image here works because the image is a high-res image. So that's what you may want to do throughout your website. Vero also says the word sponsorship is repeated. Let me take a look at that. I think that's on the About page, I think. Okay, I think I've missed it. Okay. These links as well, I forgot to mention, they actually don't work. So when I try to click here, it's not taking me anywhere. And it looks like the description or the value proposition is only on one image. So this may need to be changed. Right. So just to summarize, I would say use high quality images on this and also rethink your value proposition on your website. And also the images that you have on your membership page also need to be updated. So pretty much that's all I have to say for this. Does anyone have any more comments that we can help? I think it's Jennifer with her website. Any more comments? Okay. Vera also says on the homepage, the logos are a little bit big and should be the same size. Yes, I agree with that. These logos, they're way too big. They just need to be trimmed down a little bit to make the layout much better. So these are the logos that I'm referring to. Okay. And there's something about this text here. It's bold. I don't think it's necessary to have it bold. I will just have it as a normal font as well. Okay. Right. So I'm just going to switch over here to Facebook and take a look at some of the comments here. Right. Right. I have a question here from Nancy saying, how high res do you recommend and what JPEG size qualifies as high res? Okay. The sizes that qualify as high res, I would say are full HD. So 1980 by 1080 as just the base. So my width could be 1980, but the height could differ depending on where I want to use the image. So I would use the width of 1980 as the basic width, and then just vary your heights depending on what you need to do. Okay. Omar says, how can you stop looping of video in the background? I'm not really sure how to do that yet, because when I took a look at adding that feature, there isn't an option to go in and stop the looping. So that's something that I need to look into, and keep an eye on the next sort of videos. I will also share with you how to stop that looping. Okay. Right. I also have a question here. What is the optimal size for a hero image? Mine loads super slow. Right. So the question is, what size have you uploaded for your hero image? Because if it's loading super slow, it could be that you've just used a super high quality image straight from your camera or straight from these websites that you can download high resolution images. So that could be the reason why. So the size to use is about 1920 by 1080. So that's the normal size that I use. And then in Photoshop, I actually reduce the quality of that image to make it easier to load. In fact, let me show you what I mean by that. We have a question here from, or a comment from Ratapula saying, lunchtime for me. Okay, good to see you, Ratapula. And it's been fantastic having you back on the show. So see you again next time on Wednesday. Daryl also says, when is Divi going to start focusing on e-commerce? Now, I don't have, or we don't have the actual dates yet on when the e-commerce updates will be out. There's quite a few things that are being worked on right now behind the scenes, which are the header and footer, the theme builder, and so on. But to know which order of items are being released right now, we're not sure 100%. But this is a feature which is definitely going to be added on the Divi Builder. So I'm really also looking forward to that. And as soon as I hear something, and as soon as we have more information about this, I will let everybody know regarding this. But of course, I'm hoping that it's way too soon as well. Okay, Vero also has to go. Thank you, Vero, for contributing on the show. See you again next time. Okay, so we have a website here, how to disable slider loop. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to share this link. So the question was asked by okay, there was a question here about how to stop a slider loop. Okay, so here's the solution right there. How to stop the slider loop. Okay, great. Right, so moving on. In fact, let me show you now what I do with my images in Photoshop. So I'm just going to open up my Photoshop here. Do a demo. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a royalty-free website and download an image and then show you how I prepare my images for the web. Okay. So I'm just going to move over here. Okay. So I'm going to go to a website called Pexels. And over here, I'm just going to look for an image that I can use as my hero image. So let's go with Okay, so let's go with this one here. In fact, that doesn't look really nice. Let's choose a different one. So I'm just going to do this in real time and just show you how you can add your images, your hero images, and how to prepare them. It's quite funny. When you try to do things on the fly, it can be quite tricky to find images. Okay, I'm just going to search for happy. Let's see what comes up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with this one here. Okay, so I'm going to click on download. And here I can choose to download 1920 by 1353. Click on download. Right, so now it has been downloaded onto my computer. I'm going to switch now and go to Photoshop and open a new document. Hopefully you can see this. Okay. So here in Photoshop, what I normally do is I just go to File, New, and then I'll just open 1920 by 1080. So that's going to be my base. And then what I do is I go to the actual image. So it's in my downloads folder. I'll drag it over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just to resize like that and just make sure it's well cropped. Now, here's the most important part. So what you need to do now is to save this. But when you save it, when you get this save for the web, you want to make sure that you've selected JPEG. Okay. And then over here, it says compression quality high. Okay. So on the bottom here, it also tells you it opens up in 51 seconds on a, in fact, we can change this download speed to, let's say, 2 megs. Okay. So at 2 megs, if your download speed is 2 megs, it just takes 2 seconds. Now, why does it take 2 seconds? It takes 2 seconds because I've changed the quality here to 60. So you notice here, it still looks really nice, but the quality here has been reduced to 60. Now, notice what happens when I increase this to 100. Okay, now it takes 5 seconds. Okay, but if you were to use this image as it was, straight from the website, it will take really, really long to load. So I'm just going to reduce this, and sometimes you can reduce it to about 70, sometimes to about 60. And also the file size is 349K, right? So I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to compare. I'll just call this image. And it's added to the download folder so we can see and compare with the one that we've just downloaded. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Okay, in fact, I don't need to save that. So now when I compare, we can see here that now it has been re-edited. So now let me use this in my actual website. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to log into my website. Okay, so I'm just going to choose a basic page here and just click on Add New. I'm just going to call this Test. Builder. Build from scratch. Okay, so now I can add my image in the background. So in fact, the image, the way we could do this is maybe even adding a full width header. So I'm going to come over here, select full width header. And then over here, I'm just going to delete that. And then I'm going to add my image in the background. And I'm going to use the image that I just saved. So I'm going to come over here to my downloads folder. Okay, so where's that image? strange. I've just lost that image that I've just saved. And this is the problem of doing live streams. Right, let me see. Okay, here it is. I'm going to double click on that. Upload an image. And now we have our image. And then what I could do here is to come to the layout and make it full screen. Now, when I take a look at this, of course, I haven't designed it further, but you can see here that the image quality is not too bad because I've cropped the high res image and it looks much better. Dakota Moon Design says, is there an alternative to Photoshop? Yes, there is. There's also a website called, what's it called again? It's very popular. It's an online image editing software or platform. Canva, that's it. So I'll just go to Canva. If this, okay. So this is Canva. It's actually a very, very good website. You can go in and upload all your images, and it also saves PNGs and all these types of files, just like as we would with Photoshop. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look here and see if we have any more questions. Wayne says GIMP. Yes, GIMP as well. Marco says Affinity Pro. In fact, I was willing to take a quick look at Affinity Pro. It seems like a really interesting software as an alternative to Photoshop. But you see, the thing is, I've been using Photoshop for a very long time, so I'm very, very comfortable in Photoshop. But it's something that I may want to go into because Photoshop now, the software is getting really, really bloated. It has so many features that I don't even use in there. Okay, let's move on. And in fact, before I move on to the next website, I just want to take a quick look at the questions. Okay, so over here. Okay, so any questions so far about the website that we've just reviewed? Or any comments or any questions? Tim has a very good question, and he says, how would you deal with very long articles? I'm taking up to 50 pages plus, talking about up to 50 pages plus. My first thought is to encourage readers to download the article as PDF or ebook. Absolutely right. On the website, it'll be very, very difficult to read, these long pages on screen. So the best thing to do is to really package these articles into PDF format and then download those PDFs and read those. Because generally, when it comes to blog posts, the moment you start getting to 2,000 to 3,000 words, those are like really long form articles. But beyond that, I would just put all that into a PDF and rather make your readers download the PDF to read that better. Okay, let's take a look here. Israel here says, what have to be done in order to have a gradient color over a picture in such a way that the gradient works like changing from time to time. Right. So I guess what you are referring to here is an animated gradient. So I can show you quickly how to add a basic gradient, but it can animate on hover. But to have it animating over and over again over time, that has to be some form of a GIF or a video file. So that'll be quite tricky to achieve. If anyone knows how to achieve that, please let me know in the comments box. This is a question from Israel. Crystal says, have you tried using Divi and Desktop Server? I was using it. It seems to have several issues. Absolutely. I was using Desktop Server. I've now switched over to Local by Flywheel. That seems to be working fine for me right now. I used to have a few issues with it before, but at the moment things are stable. So I would switch over to Local by Flywheel. It's free and you can have as many websites as you want on there. It's really, really good. And that's what I'm using at the moment. Oh, Marco here has a response for Israel. In fact, let me add this response here. Thank you very much, Marco, for that. So this is a response to Israel. So Israel, you may want to read this. Oh, is that the link? No. Sorry. Let me see if I can get rid of it. Okay, there we go. Let me copy the right URL. Okay, so there you go. Right, so moving on. I have a quick tutorial here to do to show you how you can edit different views as you're designing your website. Right, so I need to log back into my website again one more time. Right. Okay, so this is going to be a step-by-step demo where I show you how to make some edits to your pages. So I'm just going to switch over here to my screen. Okay, right. So if you want to edit your pages and make sure you're editing in the 3 views, in fact, let me make sure. Right. So I'm going to come over here and add a new page. So to make things easier for me, I'm just going to call this views. And to make things easier for me, I am just going to create a page from a pre-made layout. So this will save me a lot of time. So I'm going to go and choose. Okay, let's go with this software layout pack. Okay, I'm going to use this layout. It's going to take a while to load. Okay, so the question here is, how do you edit different different views without affecting the other views while designing your page? So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go in and make some changes to my row. So it's something that you can really see. Okay, right. So let's say I want to customize this text settings. Okay, so right now here, now that this is selected, what you want to do is to click here on design So let's say you want to edit this paragraph. So in that paragraph, the default view that you're editing in is the desktop view. Okay. So what you want to do is to, let's say you want to change the font size. Every time you mouse over this area here, it also shows you the different views that you can work on. So for example, here I have my text size. So I'm going to click on this little icon. It looks like a mobile device. If you click on that, it now gives you the tablet and the phone view. So if I click here on the tablet, you can see it's changed and the phone has changed as well. Okay, so this is where you want to start making your changes. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to increase the size. So you can see here, and I'm just doing this in a really dramatic way so you can see the changes that I'm doing. So on the desktop, we're going to change this to, let's say, 32. Okay, so it's nice and big. So let's say on the smartphone, we want to change the size. So if in the tablet. So if I click here on tablet, we can see here that the tablet is still massive. It has taken the size of the desktop, but we can customize this and bring it down to, let's say, 25. Okay. And then let's go into the phone. So you can see here on the phone, it has 25 by default. So you do need to go in and make that adjustments. Okay. So I'm going to bring this down to about 16. So now when we take a look at this on the desktop, it's way big. Tablet, it's slightly smaller. And then on the phone, it's even smaller. So you can use this technique and make all your changes to each and every module that you want to make changes to. Okay. So at first, this was a bit tricky for me as well, but this is how you change them. So as I cycle through these different views, you can see phone is 16, tablet is 25, desktop is 33, and it can be shown here. And if I save this, and then I view the three views, you can see here, world-class productivity. On the phone, it is small as well. So that is how you do the editing. So Wayne, I hope this answers your questions. Claudio has a question here. Do you have a rule of thumb for? Okay, before I answer your question, Claudio, Wayne says, does this work in spacing as well? Yes, absolutely. This works in spacing. Let me just show you that quickly. Right. So let's say I choose. Okay. So let's add spacing to this row, okay? So in order for this to work as well, I need to give this row a color so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to give this a background color. And this is just for demo purposes only, okay? This is not the actual design. Right, so let's say you want to add spacing as well. So if I come over here and click on my text settings, design, spacing. So here, for my padding, I can add 100 up, 100 to the bottom. So you can see here that this is for the desktop view. So if I click here on this little icon as well, now I can click on tablet, and then by default, remember, it's set to 100 because it takes it on from the desktop. So you want to come in here and say, maybe bring it down to, let's say, let's bring it down to about 50. And then on the phone, we can bring it all the way down to, let's say, 16. Okay. Now, if we cycle through these, you can see here that we start off with 100 on the tablet. It's now 50 on the phone. It's now 16. And here it is. So this works throughout all your modules. So hope that answers that question, Wayne. Okay, so back over here to Claudius. Claudius says, do you have a rule of thumb for the font size on all devices? Right. what I normally do when it comes to font sizes is, depending on the font that I'm using, I just look at it and just see if that font looks okay. But the main font that I use for my body text is around 17 to 18 pixels as my main font. And then that's what I use throughout. So my body text doesn't really change on these screens on mobile devices for the body text, because even on a smartphone, 18 pixels or 16 pixels is also really, really good when it comes to reading size. But when it comes to headings, I actually just look at it and see if it's big enough and it's covering all the space that I need. So that's what I normally do when I take a look at these fonts. So there isn't a specific size that I use, but I just look at it and see if it looks well or it looks nice on the page. So for example, if I take a look here at these features, I would say for the mobile, this looks really nice. I mean, I wouldn't really make any adjustments to that. And if I come back over here to tablet, again, I just look at it and say, okay, tablet, that may look fine. And then over here, if I need to increase the size, that's when I actually go into the actual module and make the changes to it. Okay, right. So moving on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I was just taking a look at the questions. Right, let's head over here to Ryan says, is there a way to change an image size on mobile view? Yes, you can change the image size on mobile view. Let me see if I can just go back quickly and change that. Okay, I'm going to flip back over here to my site and show you how to do that. Okay, so let's say this is the image that we need to make some changes to on mobile on the mobile view. Come over here to design, sizing, and this is where you change it. Okay, so the width by default is 100. So if I click on this little icon, I can go into the tablet. So this is my image here. And you can see here, I'm making it smaller. And I'm going to keep it centered. On the phone, I can make it even smaller or even bigger. Okay. So you need to go to sizing. That's where you need to go. All right. Hope that answers that question. Okay, so we are approaching almost 2 hours now. What I'll do is, in fact, I think this is the last website we reviewed. Let's take a look and see where we've cut off. Okay, so in the next episode or in the next session of reviews, we're going to start off with number 7 from Shanu. So that's the website we'll be reviewing. So this pretty much sums up our website reviews. So far, if you like what you saw today, I mean, are there any suggestions that you have? If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. All of you guys on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up or add some comments in there so I know what sort of feedback we have for these reviews. And if you have any tips, please add all your tips in the comments box so that I can improve on the next upcoming sessions. Now, if you want to add your website to be reviewed, the website is macuniversity.com/reviews. All you have to do is to add your name, your email, and web address and submit for review, and I will add them onto this list. And I'll also be updating this so that you can see where we've left off. Right. Wayne says, great session. JB says, great job, Mac. Monique, always something new to learn. Fantastic. Fantastic. Sam also says, fabulous session. Thumbs up. Awesome. 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 Right. We're going to keep these going. So I'm really excited by 2019. So I just want to go through, for those of you that have just joined us, through what's coming up. And that is brand new tutorial, which I've just shown you. In fact, do I even have the website up here? I'll have to go back to that. Okay. Right. So brand new tutorial on how to use Divi. That should be out on Monday. It's going to be a huge tutorial where I cover how to put a website together right from the beginning to end. So for those of you that want just a quick tutorial on just how to do that, I'm also going to add this into the membership area so you can access the bite-sized video tutorials. Secondly, there's also how to make a website, how to make a membership website using MemberPress. So this is a course that has been that I've been working on for quite a while. In fact, it's been on and off because of all the changes that were happening in Divi and also Gutenberg. But now we've had a very good solid foundation to build this course on. So this again will be added onto the course library, and the brand new WordPress Gutenberg, again, that's also going to be a course that's going to be added to the media library. So for all of you that are members of macuniversity.com, you will have free access to that. And also, I'm still finalizing the payment gateway. Some of you have been charged twice on the recurring payments. So if you have that problem, please drop me a message on macuniversity.com on the support, and I'll be able to get back to you and resolve that. So pretty much this is our first session 2019. I know it's off to a... the live stream was much better this time, but the quality is not as good as I would have wanted. So I will be playing around with some settings and make sure that we stream on full HD next time on Wednesday. Right. Monique also says the live stream was much better. Yes, definitely much better. But I would really love this to be full HD, because then you can really see my monitor and see where I'm clicking. So I'll be playing around with some changes, see how that's going to work. Israel also says, thank you for sharing your message. Claudia also gives me a thumbs up. Fantastic. Michael also says, this was really great. I learned a lot. Fantastic. Louise says, a question about the filterable portfolio doesn't open in a Lightbox, but it opens in a new page. Can I get it open in a Lightbox? So what I'll have to do there, Louise, is I'm going to take a quick look at it, and then I'm going to post a comment back on this channel. But if it's something that needs maybe greater explaining, I may do a video tutorial about it. Okay. So we're approaching, oh, Johnny also says, where is the Divi versus ClickFunnels? Johnny, I'd put that to the side, to be honest. Sorry about that. I just need to push these courses out, and then I'll be back to working on that tutorial. And also, next week, if you have any specific tips, if you have any specific tutorials, please drop me a message so I can start putting all these tutorials together so that we have a good library of tutorials that we have for Divi and WordPress. Okay, right. Brenda says, are the reviews done on the first Saturday of the month? Yes, let's make it first Saturday of the month. But if the demand is high, we can make it maybe fortnightly, every 2 weeks. So it's just going to depend on how many people respond to this. And if you also prefer having these reviews, we can do more of these. But at the moment, let's make it first week of every month. Okay. So I think we've come to the end of our show. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me. So I will see you again on Wednesday. I will send an email out to just notify you when just before we go live. So everyone out there, thank you very much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate your time and also keeping me, busy, keeping me awake. So I will see you again on Wednesday. Take care, everyone, and have a great weekend.